Hello, Rick.
Hello, Megan.
I'm here. I'm back in my office. It was six
Mhm.
weeks of uh, baloney, but we're back in here,
Oh
and
yeah, okay. I just noticed that.
I know it's a
So cool.
total disaster. But luckily, we've got a little manpower to put it back together. But man, the air conditioner works so nice in here,
Ah, sweet.
and all the tools we have are here. So we like working in the office.
That's a good thing,
I know,
right?
exactly. We got some new
A very good
letters for
thing.
the windows, so I'm pretty excited. We used to always get the windows painted, but our painter
Hmm.
became very, very popular. Good for her, not so good for us. So just trying to find ways to liven up the place, Rick.
Looking good from here.
Thank you.
Better than
So
mine. Huh.
I know we won't talk about your house. So this morning we were talking, and
Mhm.
you were working with a new buyer,
Mhm.
and the buyer had a request, and then the agent piped in like, it sounds like the request was his idea in the first place and that sort of thing. So we got to talk about running your credit when you're getting a pre-approval or
Mhm.
out looking for a house, and why
Mhm.
do we have to run the credit, and does it affect people's credit negatively? What's the
Mhm.
story?
Yeah, and we deal with this a lot. And I get it from a home buyer's perspective. They say, "Do you have to run my credit?" Because they think this would be a ding against their credit score to do that. Well, it's important to know that on a mortgage report, there's no effect to your credit scores whatsoever. It does not impact your credit scores. You only have to worry about the impact of credit scores if you're out shopping for appliances or cars, things, consumer goods, and you're running your report several times, like a car dealer's. When you run it so many times, that's going to take a hit to your credit scores. On a mortgage pull, it does not impact your scores whatsoever. So home buyers are safe with that. Okay, there's nothing there to worry about. But the question is, well, why do we need it? And someone will say to me, they'll say, "Oh, I got my credit scores from Credit Karma, or I get this sent to me. Why can't you just use that?" Well, great question, but here's the answer. Everything we do is automated. Okay, so everything gets pulled through an automated system. And so when we run a credit report that runs through that system and downloads it to that system, so that means our system is reading that report internally. Okay, so that way when I input the data for the buyer and verify the income and assets and go through all the numbers, we run that that we talked about last week. Remember, we talked about DU, desktop
Mhm,
underwriter. That's the
mhm.
artificial intelligence, which is an underwriting system. When you run that through DU, that DU reads all of that data, including that internal credit report. And so it's impossible to manually just download a report. We'll just type the data in there and give it to them.
Those
That
days
doesn't
are
read it.
over.
Yeah,
Data entry is over. Yeah.
exactly. Long over. So that's why that's important. It's also a quality control issue too, because it's important that we verify that we know is accurate. But beyond that, it gets downloaded to the system, and the system reads that to be able to produce that underwriting approval. And without that, you can't do anything. I can tell a buyer they're qualified. I can tell them, here's the numbers, here's what this would look like. But until we have that validated data, it's as a practical matter, it's impossible to generate a true approval.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if a loan officer gave a buyer a pre-approval letter,
Mhm.
but hasn't run their credit,
Mhm.
then they don't have a pre-approval.
They don't. They don't. And that's troubling because in that case we had this week, they were saying to the buyer, "Oh no, we can just go ahead and just give them your credit scores, and they'll use that and give you an approval letter."
Mm,
And my heart sinks when I hear that because that's in a sense a form of fraud. Because when
right.
I send out an approval letter, I'm validating I've verified the credit, I've verified the income, I've verified the assets. And if I've
Hmm.
not verified that, I'm sending out a letter to you and to the seller's agent and to the seller saying I verified it when it's not true.
Right.
And
Right.
that's just not a good practice at all.
No, it's not. And it's usually one that will blow up in your face, stuff like
They
that. So
will
very
eventually, yeah, for
disappointing
sure.
for people.
Mhm.
So good. All right. Well, now we understand why the credit has to be run. and the goal that, or the purpose that it has in the process, and that your credit is not impacted negatively by having your credit run while you're searching for a home loan, but not, you know, if you're jumping around looking at cars or opening credit cards at, you know, Lowe's
Home
or that
Depot.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
All right, good. Well, thanks, Rick. Well, it's short and sweet this week. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate you as always. Thanks. See you, buddy.